Reese is committed to the defensive end. Everyone else follows suit. And then you've got Jordan Canada who can pressure the ball. Then you talked about Alicia Gray's improvement on that end of the floor. And we know what Angel Reese can do defensively along with Naz Hillman.
This is Reese with the handle. Shot clock winding down on the drain. Reese, they're going to have to put it up. Ball on the floor. It's a shot clock violation and a turnover to start the second.
And that was a matchup Stephanie White talked about. Myisha Hines-Allen has had success against Angel Reese in her career defensively, and her physicality with Reese, Stephanie White thought could be a factor in this game.
Clark around the Hines-Allen screen. Clark to the rack, blocked by Okad.
She's showing us.
Yeah.
She's showing us something
The
tonight.
rookie
I like
is
it.
moving.
I like
He's
it.
moving.
I like it. I'm really impressed with Atlanta's defense. And to go back to the point about the improvement on that end, I mean, this is terrific. Chase down that length that she has. We talk so much, and we should, about what Gray and Howard do offensively. Both of their improvements defensively this year, I think, is what makes Atlanta a legitimate contender, specifically when Bree Jones gets back.
Yes.
And the box out there from Reese. She touched it last. And it will stay with Indiana. The Fever will get a fresh 14. There is Carl Smesco in his second season as head coach of Atlanta. Hines-Allen trying to find a cutting Sophie Cunningham, and Alicia Gray with the hands. Howard back to Gray. They're taking their time on the perimeter. Caught Canada on the move, stops, kick out to Reese. Can't hit the tray. She hit her first three of the season Tuesday against Connecticut. Hand off to Clark. Clark got some space. Bottoms. She's now 2 for 8 with that make. 5 points, and the Fever lead by 3. Skip pass for Reese. Over to Howard. Howard going dancing with Clark. Howard dump off, and Reese couldn't handle it.
How many plays, consecutive plays, has Myisha Hines-Allen been a factor? Right here, just completely takes Ryan Howard out with the screen there, but also her activity on defense, the way she recovers, she understands the game, high basketball IQ. And everyone better look out, because now that she's starting to grasp what is required in this system, she's going to be that much more impactful.
Atlanta 11th in the WNBA in turnovers per game. They have 7 already here in the first half. Howard leading the W in steals. Howard going at Boston and rims out. Clark on the move, stops on a dime, and cutoff finds Boston for 3. And Atlanta will call time.
Better start at home. They've had a couple days to reset, regroup. And we've seen some good things here early.
They've hit more shots from beyond the arc than inside the arc, speaking of Indiana. 5 threes, 3 shots from inside the arc. As they lead by 6, Howard in the corner, surrounded. Gave it up to Canada, who goes down, and a foul is called on Clark for a push. That's going to be her second.
But I like the call by Stephanie White out of the timeout to inject some energy in her defense, trapping here. And then from the behind angle, looks like Clark might have had that right hand on the back of Jordan Canada.
And Indiana #1 in pace. Stephanie White talking often about her team needs to get into transition. They've been forcing turnovers early and often in this one as Gray misses from downtown. Billings, hand off to Clark. Clark just lost the handle on the way to the rim.
You know, one of the parts of Aaliyah Boston's game that's improved is that three-point shooting. And you know, the delta between the two teams right now is the 6 points, and she's got 2 threes. And, you know, Indiana finding spacing is critically important with their front court, and she's the player that's most equipped in their front court to knock down shots consistently. A great sign for their offense that she's hitting a 3-point shot early.
Shot clock winding down on Atlanta. Hillman looking for Okot in the post. This is Okot going to have to put it up. Stops. Off glass for 2.
Give me more of that. That's tough. She does. It's like she doesn't even know how strong she is.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? It's like she's just exploring now, like in the space. I mean, she can be a dominant force. Look at her run.
Dream force a turnover. Gray missing from beyond the arc. And here comes Clark across the timeline. Over to Mitchell. Mitchell shifting. Back to Clark. Inside to Billings, and she's pushed from behind by Ryan Howard.
You get caught down there, and sometimes it happens. I'll tell you what, I do not want to get caught down there against her.
My goodness. And then, I mean, the wherewithal, patience, the step through to let the defense go by. Quality minutes for that young woman.
5 points, couple of rebounds off the bench. She'll take a seat as Angel Reese checks back in. Reese with 5 rebounds, also playing with 2 fouls. How about Mitchell cutting off the inbound for 2. Indiana by 6. Hillman in the lane, blocked by Billings. Mid-range, Jay won't go.
Some standing on offense on that possession by Atlanta.
Pass inside, Boston, good position. Oh, the okey-doke, can't hit. And rebound secured by Hillman. Near the midway mark of the 2nd quarter. Indiana trying to get back to some defensive principles. Have to be pleased with their effort thus far. As Billings breaks up that pass.
You gotta stay beneath there. That's what you don't want to give up. I mean, that's a freebie. That's not something we see a lot from Atlanta. It's just a breakdown there in Canada's body position. But how about the improvement there, possession to possession? Remember early on in the game, Hillman slips out of a screen, gets a wide open layup. There's no help side. Fly to the pass. Billings is there this time. It's a deflection out of bounds. So great job by Indiana to make that adjustment.
Just 2 points so far in the 2nd quarter for the Dream on 1 of 7 shooting.
But I will say, this favors the Dream. 23-17. I mean, where they have struggled most this season has been on the offensive end, right? But defensively, you're holding Indiana to 23 points in 15 minutes of play. You're not happy you have 17 points, but your defense has held up.
And we'll see if that made free throw can get Ryan Howard going. She's without a field goal to this point after 36 in the last game, right? So you want to try to find a way, if you're Atlanta, to get her some more opportunities.
This is Canada from downtown.
And that changes your offense when Canada can hit from long range.
4-point possession for Atlanta. Boston got free inside. And Clark gets another assist, her 5th of the ball game. And Atlanta still playing without Bree Jones. Had that torn meniscus, had surgery. Dream turn it over again. Mitchell chases down the rock. Stops over to Clark. Touch pass. Hall inside. And Hall is fouled.
I mean, there's been a number of these passes from Caitlin Clark, just darts right up the floor to Aaliyah Boston. Not a lot of pressure on the ball. Defense isn't necessarily in position near the basket to get a tip.
Well, she has 5 assists, and she really should have had 6, though.
Yeah.
On the touch pass to Hall. I thought Hall should have quick up that, finished that early on the left side of the basket. So playmaking, I mean, yes, just 2 for 8 from the field, but the way she's spreading the ball around with her teammates is at, I would say, her typical high level. I mean, she's one of the best playmakers in the country, in the world, not just the country, right? Yeah.
Just 1 turnover so far for Caitlin Clark. She's been spreading it around. 1 more free throw for Lexi Hall. in her 5th year out of Stanford. 27-21, Indiana on top. You see the black and white basketball, an indicator of this being a Commissioner's Cup game. Atlanta 1-0 in Commissioner Cup play. This is Indiana's first game of the Commissioner's Cup. They, of course, won the title last season, beating Minnesota in the title game. Mitchell got some space and hits. Indiana run. Canada. In the lane, nearly lost the handle. Kick out. Hillman flicks the wrist and connects.
That's confidence. That is a confident stroke from Naz Hillman, who has picked up her shooting here in the last few games, getting more efficient from the field.
Clark off the feed from Boston. Indiana's outscored Atlanta 17-9 here in this second quarter. Canada, nice delivery. Reese with the bucket.
That's really good. Really good by Canada. Just to keep the dribble alive, attack the switch, and then be able to have the dump down pass to Reese.
Canada is 4th in the WNBA in assists per game this season. We have a kickball here.
Too. I'm making sure I'm working my butt off on the defensive end, so I feel like that has helped elevate everything else around me, guys.
Austin has matched her career high with 2 made threes. How about that time? Hines Allen with the hoop.
That's the second time they've scored out of that look. Remember the backdoor cut with Mitchell? So Canada does a good job of staying beneath there, and then Hines Allen gets loose. So productive sideline out here for Indiana in the first half. To stay underneath, and then there's the back screen. Howard just gets tagged on it a little bit. Atlanta shifting, maybe to try and shift momentum, but also put young players in, going for guard here, okay? Howard at the 4, so that's a change. And what that does is it puts Howard on Hines Allen, okay? And that's the strength and physicality advantage that they took advantage of in that sideline out.
Ryan Howard, slow start, just 0 for 2 from the floor. As we mentioned, coming off that 36-point performance on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it earlier. Ryan Howard's been quiet. Alicia Gray's been quiet. 1 for 6. 4 points between the two of them.
Here's Mitchell. On the drive around the world, will retreat beyond the arc. Over to Cunningham. And a 3-second violation. So Indiana turns it over, their 7th of the first half. It is a 7-point advantage for Indiana. Gourlays. Outside, Canada wants 3. Won't go. Rebound secured by Johnson. Hines Allen. Nice dump off, but Cunningham couldn't control it, out of bounds. And back-to-back turnovers for Indiana.
I just like the way they're playing. I like the way Indiana's playing. You know, it's not been perfect. There's been some sloppiness. There's been some miss, but there's more of an urgency about them. There's more of emotion about them. There's more of a connectedness about them, and that's what I wanted to see, you know, coming into today. I think their ceiling is every bit as high as it was to start the season. And so to see this, you have to play this way to capture the growth that your team needs to get. That's the thing. It's not just about, like, you can't sleepwalk your way to the end of the season. You have to continue to grow as a team. You play this way, you capture way more growth than if you play the way they did out on the West Coast.
And you talked about it. We talked about it off air. And Caitlin Clark mentioned this in talking with our Kayla Gray. They're 4-4. They're not 2-6. That's a long 2 from Kelsey Mitchell. Still a lot of basketball left to be played this season. 9-point advantage, largest lead of the ball game for the Fever. Gray with the shot clock winding down once again. Borlase on the move, blocked by Boston. Last touched by Atlanta. It's Indiana ball.
And as much as we've talked about how good the Atlanta defense is, the Atlanta offense has struggled this year. And they go through stretches where they don't score the ball very well. And in the half court, Howard and Gray in the first half have been bottled up. They're forced to either give up the ball or take shots that are really, really challenged, which is what Indiana's game plan was. Atlanta's going to have to figure that out. How do I manufacture easier shots against some of the top teams in the league?
Clark over to Boston. Boston going at Hillman. Step through. Boston, wild shot won't go. Borlase with the board. 40 seconds to go in the second. Borlase, step through, put it in with the left. That stops a little bit of the bleeding. Boston. Indiana can't execute the 2-for-1. Mitchell behind the back, looking at Boston inside. Mitchell on the move, push shot drops.
No one has been able to stop her from getting to her spot. She is going left, using the hezzy, being methodical, probing, just to get back to where she wanted to go in the beginning.
14 points for Kelsey Mitchell. Howard gives it up. Borlase, clock winding down, and the clock expires.